Let It Out, Moonlight, Love Scars 4, The Nether, So Stressed, Excitement, Mood, Pegasus, Weeeeee, Personal Fave, V12, Spaceships, Never Change, Good Morning, No Honorable I Got Two Flies, Red Beat, Oomps Revenge Part 2, Take 1, Sleepy Hollow, Kid That Did, Dawn, Hellrain, TR666, Sun God. Bro, what is this? I should not have to have a Mensa candidate level IQ to memorize the track list of your album. You might be thinking, wow CDTV, you actually managed to drop a video on an album while it is still somewhat relevant, pretty much within a week of it dropping. And the reason that's the case is because this isn't a review. I am not here to talk about the ins and outs of the music here. I'm here to talk about one particular aspect that kind of ruins this album. 26 goddamn tracks. Let's fucking go. So to start this off, let me say that Trippie is not the only one to drop an album this long in the age of streaming, inflating your first week sales and overall streams by basically throwing what is the cutting room floor onto the album. It's just that Pegasus is such a great example of this problem. And the reason for that, and the sad part about this, is this album could have sold me on Trippie's music, and could have been one of his better ones if he refined the track list more. But the way it is with its 26 tracks, I'm incredibly put off from even revisiting it to dig through it and find the tracks that I like and put them on a playlist, because there's simply too much to dig through on one listen. Now maybe this is just because of my situation, of being someone that reviews music for a living, but in a time where so much music is dropping, there's so many songs and so many new albums every week, I just don't have the time to listen to a 26 track long Trippie Redd project more than once or twice. I don't hate Trippie's music, but as someone that's not a super fan of him, 74 minutes is a very long time to just have one listen through of your album, and for me, that's not worth it. And I feel like that is who this album is for. Pegasus only really caters to one demographic, and that is hardcore Trippie Redd fans. Now, you might say, what's the issue there? Like, making music for your fans, that makes sense. But I'm gonna talk about why doing it to this extent is a bad idea. I've got a bad idea. Make my album 26 tracks so they don't wanna play. If you're a fan that likes almost everything he drops, then a 26 track album is gonna be a blessing for you. Unless you don't like the music on there, but generally as someone that's a super fan of an artist, more tracks, you're gonna appreciate that. However, on the other side, if you're literally anyone else, this is just off-putting, and it deters them from listening more than once. If they decide to even listen once. As a rapper, you're always gonna have more people that don't listen to you than people that do. And there's always the opportunity to convert more people into fans and into frequent listeners. And I feel like Trippie could have done that with Pegasus, because there are some great songs on here, but they're just lost in a sea of filler, and by the time you finish the album, it just sort of feels like they all blend together, and it's so long that you can't even remember what your favorite tracks were. Personally, I feel like if he went for a shorter, spooky, sort of Halloween-themed album with more dark bangers like Weeeeee or Sleepy Hollow, then this could have been great. But that isn't even close to what we got at all. Pegasus is not a bad album by any means. It's just too long for someone that isn't super into your music to care about. And like I said before, you should try to balance pleasing your fans and converting a new audience, and you are not gonna get new listeners with an album this long. At least, I don't think so. There's this concept called resistance, and the basic idea of it is the harder or more time consuming that something is to do, the more that people will try to resist it and avoid doing it because they know it's gonna be harder to do, and so there's more of a kind of force against them doing that. Why would you purposely add more resistance against people listening to your album by making it ridiculously long? Hell, the only reason I pushed past that resistance to listen to this album is because I review and discuss music. If I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't even bother. So for the sake of releasing a project that is a better overall album, please make your next album 15 songs at most. That way your fans are happy because they still get a bunch of new songs from you. And then it also has the chance to convert people like me into fans. Because I can guarantee I'm not the only person that feels this way about this album. Oh, and one more word of advice before we finish here. Do not do this shit. You or your label or whoever the fuck have the audacity to release a 58 track long expanded edition of this already long album on Apple Music with that Spooky Sounds shitpost EP slapped on at the end of it. An EP with a track titled Pegasus Coming. How the fuck do you tease your album at the end of the expanded version of your album? Then the 26 other tracks are just lyric videos for every song on the album. This man or his label, whoever is responsible, they have no shame. This album is too long, they made it longer, and there will probably be an actual deluxe version of this album too, and this video is probably the shortest thing to do with this project. Here's my track list of 10 tracks that I'll actually listen to again from this album. Do with that information what you will. Goodbye.
Pull up in a dark night, Mercy Lago, and I'm ducking, dodging 12 in the potholes. I was raised by the